Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of At Home with Mark. Today, season 4, episode 16, and we're going to have some adult beverages because we can. Curtis, cheers, my friend. Thank you for doing the show. Curtis from Masonfx.
Cheers, buddy.
All right. So, this has been booked for a while.
Yeah, what, 2 months almost now? At least?
Yeah, and it was funny when Aaron, you guys were in a live, and you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna be on Mark's show," and he's like, "Oh my god, I am too," because
Yeah.
I booked you guys. I booked you guys basically at the same time. I'm like, I'm gonna call the Fuzz Lords and get them on the
show. That's very nice of you to say.
Yeah, man. And I'll tell you, dude, like I am probably only in the past 5 or 6 years have I really started to understand fuzz and how to use it.
Yeah.
For the largest period of my career, and dude, I've been playing for a long time. I never had a fuzz pedal because I never felt like it was, the Jimmy sound where it was clean and biting and gnarly and all that good stuff and all the adjectives that we could throw at it. But so I'm a layman, so like I wanted to talk to you obviously about your story and everything today, but I want to try to get in the weeds a little bit with you with like how do people find the right fuzz and all that stuff, and like what circuits are the best for people and what your ears hear. So we can talk about that a little later, but
yeah,
I'm gonna ask you up front, like I ask everybody, is there like a like what's your earliest musical memory? Do you have like something that harkens back to like what sparked your love of music?
It's funny. I was thinking about this question before and what my answer would be because I've heard you ask it before. But now that you've just asked it, I've got a new memory that's popped into my head. And
Okay.
it was my oldest brother was a big Metallica fan. And I remember very vividly he bought a like box set VHS tape of one of their concerts. And I watched one where I forget what they were playing, but they showed the crowd and they showed a woman up on some shoulders lifting up her shirt. And I
And
was
that
like,
was
yeah.
like a
And I was like, yeah, that's what guitar's about, isn't it?
Uh, it's funny because I remember, was that the box set that had like the behind the scenes and the studio stuff and all that?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
was that called? Was it like some monsters or something like that? I can't
I
remember.
I I don't remember. I was pretty young, but uh
Yeah.
but yeah, so basically it was my oldest brother that was really into guitar, and I kind of always just wanted to be like him, so I
Yeah.
it was always just something I liked to do.
How much older is your brother?
So he was 8 years older. He passed away when I was in
Mm,
high school.
mm.
But
I'm
that I
sorry
mean
to
that
hear
was
that.
yeah, I mean that was a long time ago now, but yeah, so he's definitely the biggest musical influence. No one else in my family like plays a musical instrument. My dad always tells a joke of when he was in like a music appreciation class in college, and one of the tests they have you do is like listen to a piece and be like, all right, what instrument is making that sound? And he would be like, oh, that's a tuba. I'm like, no, sir, that's a violin. So there's like, there's like no other musical people in the family. So I, I assume it's only just because of my oldest brother.
Man, that's cool. I can relate. I have an older brother who he doesn't play anything, but he's 4 years older than me, and
Hmm.
he was a very big part of my attraction to. Now, I always, from a little kid, my parents have video of me like before I was probably like 1.5 in my overalls, like singing the Dukes of Hazzard song for some weird reason.
Yeah.
Because that's what was on TV, I guess. But my brother was a big like deadhead and like got me into Fish and like all these jam bands that I ended up like when I got to college started to kind of look into just for guitar prowess, you know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Pearl Jam will take you so far, and then you gotta look around. So well, at the time then, so Metallica, but like were there like once you found that love, like what were you listening to? Like did you like were you gobbling up as a consumer like CDs? Like what was going on?
Not really. I mean, it was for a long time. I was pretty like mainstream stuff. Like I remember my first 2 CDs. One was Dookie,
Yeah.
and the other was Sublime.
Yeah.
You know,
40
the
ounces
self-label.
or okay.
No, and that was like that's like the earliest that I can remember ever having CDs, and um, Green Day's probably more in line with what I listened to like throughout middle school and high school. I was in like a pop punk band and you know all that stuff.
Nice.
So all the one hit wonders you can imagine from the early 2000s was like what I listened to. So that was
Nice.
pretty much
Nice.
the extent of it back then.
What was your first band's name?
No excuses.
That's not a bad first band name.
It was not
There's some
bad.
bad ones out
I've got the CD in my house somewhere, but with
there.
the funny album cover, I had hair and it was blonde and spiked, so
Nice.
it was very pop punk.
Very Sum 41 of you.
Oh,
That's
very,
great.
very, yeah.
Reeves is here.
Yo, what's up, man?
Soldering late night in the UK.
Yeah.
And then our pal Chris is here too. This is
What's going on,
it's the
Chris?
fuzz community coming in
Yeah.
droves.
Reeves,
So
Reeves, one of my biggest you know, guys that I looked up to when I started doing like the point to point stuff. He's the master.
yeah, I've heard he's gonna be on the end of this month. So we'll get to
Oh,
find out.
you did go on a fuzz band, didn't you?
Oh my God, yeah, I guess I did. I didn't intentionally mean to do it this season, but it happened. So okay, so playing in bands in high school. Let's go there for a
Yeah.
minute because
Okay.
I know that you've self-proclaimed like I'm not a music student. I like you know what I do and I like what I like musically speaking and all that. But so if you're playing with a group of your friends, I'm gathering in high
Uh-huh.
school,
Yep.
what is the first Curtis rig?
So, uh, don't chastise me, but I was a bassist because I was
That's not a
not
chastisement.
I was not the best. We had two other guitarists who were already like a step ahead, and I wanted to play guitar, but there was no need for a third guitarist and no bassist, so I stepped in and played bass, and it was a borrowed bass guitar from somebody and a Galleon Kruger like 300-watt amp into something stupid like a 115 or something.
Right.
And it just got the job done. And it's funny because my first experience with a pedal, I plugged in a distortion pedal. I think it was a Boss, like a DS1 or something, into my bass amp and played it for a little bit. And I don't know what happened, but the foulest smell came out of my amp. It was like someone just let one rip, and I don't know if like a cap blew up or what could make that smell, but I didn't touch a pedal again for a long, long time.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, what's a
yeah.
long time? Like
Uh,
decade?
yeah, like when did I got back into guitar. I went on like a hiatus from guitar. Like I played bass in another band, but I didn't pick up guitar again until about 5 years ago.
Wow, dude.
And then I bought my first pedal, which was actually little EP booster.
Oh, heck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That thing's
So
awesome,
yeah.
dude.
So I'm still very. You said you've only been into fuzz for about 5 years. I've only really
Yeah.
started getting back into guitar and my first pedal like 5 years ago. So
Man.
you're ahead of the curve.
Man. It's crazy because like when I was growing up and I wish I would have had like a mentor to kind of talk to me about effects pedals and like what you
Yeah.
should get first and all that because there's a lot of things I would have changed for my younger self.
Hmm.
But you know, you get to a point where, dude, how many overdrive pedals do I need? Or, you
All
know,
of
and
them.
like, well, that's the thing. Well, I'm selling all of them now, but it, you know, it's interesting because the right and Terry and I talk about this, but like the right fuzz, you kind of don't need an overdrive pedal. You know, if you're
Yeah.
doing it right, you know, and you can leave it as an always on too. And I used to do that. Like there was a period of time that I had a fuzz face. It was just like one of those reissue Dunlop fuzz faces from
Hmm.
2009 or something like that, 2008.
Mhm.
And I bought it and I used it at Berkeley all the time. And because I didn't have a pedal board, I just brought the fuzz face and my amp to
Sure.
gigs.
What else do you need?
Yeah, and I just left it on all night, and I just controlled my volume, and I felt like, "Oh, I'm such a mature guitar player. Look at me." Because I don't have a board, I just have a fuzz face with a battery, no less. But it's interesting because it's like there's so much gas around what we're involved with. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
the FOMO is real at times.
It
But
is.
but what you build is a tool that is like you could get away with just having that, you know?
Yeah, yeah, especially some of these pedals that some of these builders come out with that have so much in one pedal, you
Mhm.
know? Like, even
Yeah.
the big enclosure that you've got, that I gave you there, I mean, that's a two-in-one right there. You've got the 2.0 for some super heavy saturated distortion, and then you've got the 1.5 for the, glassy cleanup and,
Yeah.
all those beautiful tones. So, if you've got one that can do a couple things, then really, like, overdrive wise, you're kind of set, unless you need some more tone shaping, like, punch some mids here, but in this song I want more highs or more bass, and then you might be wanting, an extra pedal. But for
Right.
the majority of tones, you're set with just one.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about doing, like, a separate button to engage the different modes or, like, a something that you could kinda remote to change the modes in between? Or, like, has that ever been a thought?
It hasn't, just because of so if you have you opened the back of that one yet?
No, I'm scared to do that. Should I do it?
Yeah, do a little twisty twist.
Okay, I'm opening it.
So the
Continue.
Okay, so when I lay out the circuit, like, everything has to be in a specific place to, one, like, support the circuit, to allow things to, not crisscross in certain ways, and visually to have an appeal. But when you start throwing in, like, separate buttons and all this, it kind of forces wires to go one way when,
Right.
yeah, yeah, there you go. So the switch, you can see all the stuff tied to it, and if I moved that to an exterior, it's the red thing there, and if I
Yeah.
move that to, like, an exterior thing, then that would just, cause a lot more wiring and other headaches that, um, I just didn't wanna deal with.
You're
So,
so
like, part
clean with how you do it too, and I know Reeves when he shows his wiring and stuff, you got like, I can see where you get your influence
Oh
in a
my
way.
god, yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Reeves, like
Yeah, but because it is so clean in here, and you know what I like? It's like lately I've been into not only like obviously people who build great stuff, but like take the time to make it an aesthetic like footprint or fingerprint.
Yeah.
And you definitely do that, in spades, but, like, even, like, the enclosure and, like, the sparkle, like, on this
Yeah, you like that
enclosure.
one?
Oh my
Yeah.
god, dude, it's so rad, man. Like, when I saw that, like, nobody takes the time to, like I know, like, you were like, "Have you opened it up?" And I don't generally do that, even if there's, like, dip switches, like,
Mhm.
like, Jesse Davies pedals, like, you can get in there. I'm like, "Dude, he already like, I like it the way he set it up, I'm not gonna mess with it." But
Yep.
taking the time to look inside here, it's like a little piece of art, man. It's so cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and some of the pedals that I was making before, I don't do it anymore, but I would actually, like, do a little painting on the inside,
I
which
remember
is just
seeing that.
yeah, it's just like a little Easter egg for anyone to find if they ever opened it up, kinda like the pedal's
Yeah.
dirty little secret.
Yeah, man, I like that. I can dig it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I know it's probably hard to, meet every need that someone might have with something like this because it is, it can get to the point where, like, people keep asking and laying it on more and more and more. "What about this? What if you change this? What if you" and like, "No, dude, stop." Like, I do this is what it is.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
do you dig
in
it?
the
You know?
Yeah, like, the end of the day, and, I think Reeves said this also when he was on that pedal show, was like, "I build these for me, and I'm just glad that, people seem to like them." Like, that's it's a terrible business model. I design stuff that I like, like,
Right.
sorry if you don't, but I enjoy this. Um, and it's just a happy coincidence that other people seem to like it too.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like a field of dreams type of a situation, though. It's like if you build it, they will come, and I think it's the same thing with even with like YouTube and all that stuff is like there's an audience out there for everybody,
Yeah.
So like you find your people if someone's resonating with what you do, even
Hmm.
if you're having fun just doing it, like because you want to play through it, you
Right.
know. I think it's your guys, it's the ears of people like, you and Aaron and Reeves and whoever. It's like your kind of, aural tonal search when you're kind
Yeah.
of breadboarding and making things and whatnot is a kind of cut above in terms of how you're discerning frequencies, and that makes a big difference, man, to how
I
a product's
appreciate
gonna
that.
sound.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it's true. Like if you like the way it sounds, then I guess I'm doing something right. Like I don't consider myself an overly uh talented auditory perceptioner. I just made that term up, but um but yeah, there's definitely something like I'm not the most technical person. Like I know generally how a pedal works and all the components and the voltages that I'm searching for, but there's some people that just know all the ins and outs and they're like, "Oh, you want to get this sound? You got to tweak this and you're looking for this to that." And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm just going to put this in here on the breadboard." And I'm like, yeah, there it is. That's good. I'll do that." It's just like a feel thing for me, I guess.
Do you feel like you're kind of a mad scientist in a laboratory sometimes, where you're just like, "Let's see if this works and doesn't kill me if I put this here?" Like,
Yeah.
how does it how
Pretty much, yeah.
scientific is it?
Very
I'm serious, but, like, I wonder how scientific it is when you guys are sitting trying stuff. Like, what is your process? Like, even as a songwriter, how I craft a song, like, what is your
sure.
process when you sit down with an empty breadboard?
So I start with a circuit, like a a typical circuit. I've never done anything from scratch. So whether it's like Fuzz Face, which is basically a 1.5 or 2.0 or a Zonk or anything, I have like a standard circuit and I will try to build that out. And there's so much info online in terms of like reference voltages and stuff to try to hit. So I'll start with that as like a baseline, and then I just kind of tweak to taste, change some input capacitor, output capacitor values to increase or decrease in bass or woof or all that, and just kind of work from there.
Yeah. Okay. So you have more of a like I kind of know what I'm going to get into right this second, but I want to see how I can change it to like almost be like your own stamp in a way of how can I make this something that would be fun to play through for me first and
Right.
foremost. Yeah.
Right. And yeah, so I'll do that, and then at the very end, I'll try to do something a little unusual, not something that's never been done before. But for instance, like on the 1.5, I've got that like structure knob which blends between two different values of input cap to
Yeah.
kind of turn it from a deep, yeah, that little one down there,
Yeah.
to turn it from like a deep woolly fuzz to like a little overdrivey to almost a treble booster. um,
Hmm.
and I didn't invent that mod, but it's just something that I don't see much anymore, I guess. So that was just something to kind of help separate my take on like a 1.5.
Yeah. Okay. Now, see, here's the thing. I'm a dummy and I don't know all those like terminologies like a 1.5 or a 2.
Uh-huh.
I just plug into crap and make noise. So you're gonna have to educate me, and that's the stuff I wanted to talk to you about
Okay.
because so the main difference, and by the way, dude, that is friggin' when I saw
Uh,
this pop out of the bag, I know you probably saw this, but I was like, this is beautiful. I want to take it on a date.
yeah.
Because it really it does like I mean, it's just like the extra touch, man. And like the back plate is like the salmon color. It's
So's the
just
inside. If you
is it?
opened it up, if you gave it a
I
look
don't
on the inside, you don't have a screwdriver, do you?
I do not. Yeah, I don't. Damn it. But regardless, like
Yeah.
how cool. I mean, and like where these knobs remind me of like old Marshall knobs.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So what
I've got a bunch of different knobs that I'll wait till the very end. Like that's the last step, is trying to decide which knobs I want to put on. And
right.
honestly, sometimes that takes as long as the wiring because I go back and forth so many times.
Where are you like sourcing this stuff from? Like, are you
God,
just like everywhere? Like,
everywhere, all over the place. Like when I did my taxes last year, and I was horrible at keeping track of where I ordered stuff for, like, all the business costs. So I like went through all my emails and made a list, and it was like 30 or 40 long with all the different places that I'd ordered stuff from.
man, that's crazy,
Yeah.
dude. Mm.
Yep.
When I went down to Nashville and I went to Mythos, Zach
Uh-huh.
showed me. Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah, I'm looking here. That's funny.
And then, hey, BB, what's going on, buddy? Um, and then Chris also got a little bit snarky and tell people to just tape pedals together if they want to circuits.
Yeah, why not? Come on.
um, but I remember it's funny when I went down to Nashville and was hanging out with Zach, and he like took me in this one room and he showed me he like bought because this one company was going out of business, I guess because of COVID. But he bought all of these knobs that go with his like Mjolnir,
Uh-huh.
Wildwood Mjolnir, because he was like, I don't know where I'm going to be able to get them, so I just bought like I don't even know how many there were in those bags, but it was like a huge thing. So I'm just like, you don't really think about like all the little. It's not like you go to one shop. It's not a Walmart for guitar pedals or something, and you're like, all right, I'll take that plate and that and this and this, and it's all together in one, nice little package. It's like you have to
Yeah,
source all this stuff from all these places, man. I mean, that's
yeah.
got
I
to
mean,
be
and
really time consuming.
it is, and that like that little faceplate that you just held up, the aluminum one. Actually, I think that one's steel. I don't remember. I have two, but yeah, take a bite.
Yeah.
I had to. So I'm a civil engineer by trade, so I had to after work design that in AutoCAD, and then like export it to some cutting company so they could cut it and send them to me.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, so it's not just off the rack stuff.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And then like so when you're wrapping all this stuff, I mean it's immaculate. That like a pain in the ass or do you enjoy
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Now sometimes it's a pain in the ass, especially with. I mean, it'll be boring, but different fabrics like take different adhesives differently.
Right.
So that one especially was a pain in the ass because it's something called like an ultra suede, which for some reason did not like any of the adhesives I had. So it took a long time, like putting little layers of adhesive and then like holding each edge down for like 30 minutes at a time, trying
Oh
to
my God.
trying to get it to stay. But then there's others like the fabric one that you've got, the blue
Mhm.
snowflake one. And that was like easy as cake, like 20 minutes and no problem.
Dang.
So it
It's
it
cool,
depends.
man. It's
Yeah.
really cool. I mean, and I love the leather on it too, and it's just, it's all the little touches, dude, that just make it more fun.
Yeah.
But I think that the other thing that I wanted to ask you about when we were talking a little bit about it, but so fuzz in general,
Mhm.
can be a beast to tame, um, especially in the context of playing with a group, and especially how big the group is. Like if it's a power trio situation, which is usually what I'm doing,
Right.
it's not as hard. But like if I have a keyboard
Right.
player on a gig and they're playing B3 or something, those frequencies can fight each other sometimes.
Mhm.
So, for me, I want to talk about the 1.5 and the 2 and like fuzz faces, zonk machines, like tone bender, all that stuff, because I don't really, I know when I plug into something how it sounds different than this fuzz face to this tone bender. I can tell, this might
Sure.
be harsher, this might be smoother, like the things like that. But like for somebody who got into it 5 years ago, I had to buy a ton to see what I liked.
That
And
is why I got into building pedals, was because I didn't wanna buy it all. So I was like, "You know what? I'll just start, like, building them and see which one I like, and then if I like it, I'll buy that one."
yeah. What
Yeah.
year was that when you stopped being a consumer and you switched to like, I'm gonna start doing like building whatever I want to hear?
I built my first pedal, which was this one. Ryan, I forget his last name, Colgan or something, the Tone Geek?
Hmm.
He does really good, like repros of this is his TS10, and
Oh,
he
okay.
he has some other things, but I wanted a TS10 because I'm a Mayer fan, and that's obviously his pedal, and Stevie Ray. Uh, but at that point, they were going off for like 300 plus, and I was like, I'm not gonna do that. And so I went online and I found this, and I built it for like $40 or something. And I was like, yes, that is the one. So then I ended up, I don't know if you can see up there, but I bought a TS10 right
Oh yeah, I see it.
there. Yeah. So
Yep.
that was after I built some pedals, but this was a year ago. Actually, May of last year was my first pedal that I built.
Oh my god, dude. I did not know that. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. Dude. And it's the same, it's kind of the same story with Aaron, and like people just kind of get into it, and then all of a sudden, boom, you got people like
Yeah.
Buddy Blues doing something for you, and then
Dude. That's the
yeah,
guy. He was the reason that it kind of took off. Like I
yeah,
owe it all to Buddy.
yeah. What did you see happen as soon as he did that video? Was it like a lot of demand, and you're like, oh, whoa, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah, it was. That's when I like opened up my wait list, and 100 people signed up like right away, which I'm nowhere near going through, and I've closed it down just because it's it's more time consuming than I thought. And in the end, this is still just for fun for me. Like the
Right.
second that it starts feeling like a job and something that I have to do, I'm not going to want to do it because that's just my
Yeah.
personality. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to slow it down a little bit and get the fun back to it. Um,
Yeah.
but but yeah, it was right after the Buddy Blues video that things really kind of took off.
Man, what a cool thing that dude is doing for small business. It's like,
Right?
like he didn't have to do that. Like I'm sure he could be doing all the name brand stuff, but he chooses to like, I want to help people that are making great stuff, and because
Yeah.
it's like functional art too. Like I find, more and more these days when I see something that's as beautiful as what you're doing aesthetically on the outside and inside and everything, it's like, who's taking the time to do things like this anymore, to make them,
I mean,
a really one-off piece of art,
yeah.
It's
I
crazy.
kind of I kind of felt like I had to in order to actually sell anything, do something that no one else is doing or few are doing. Like paper. Do you know Paperboy effects?
No, I don't.
Oh, he's another awesome point to point. He also does some fabric wrap stuff. Or Peace Hill effects.
I don't
Have
know
you
them
seen
either.
this? Come on, man, what are you doing? He's
Working a day job and trying to keep up with Instagram and YouTube.
yeah. So there's a handful of guys that have their own twist on point to point or fabric wraps or all this. So I was just trying to make my own mark on that small market. So
Yeah, yeah. I remember seeing a couple years ago, the first time I saw like Dan Drive, and he was doing like Marvel wraps on those
yeah,
pedals.
yeah,
You
yeah,
ever see
yeah.
that
Or
stuff?
Dan Drive, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, oh man, like I would love to have a Marvel fuzz. And then I was like, oh wow, I can't afford that. Like that's not gonna happen right now, brother. Um, but
Yeah,
regardless, like and it's like it's reflected in the price. Like you put in a lot of time, man, and you put a lot of
right,
effort into making it feel good and sound good. I mean, that's the thing, is like obviously the reason we buy these things is to inspire us to make music, right?
right.
Um, and I think that if you get something that looks as cool as either of these, um, and then is also sounds great, it's kind of a win-win, and it makes you want to like go downstairs and turn my amp on,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's the point. I mean, that's got to feel pretty good, with
It
that you're
does.
doing. So
It does, and that's a good point that they look good, but at the end of the day, if someone's like, "Yeah, they look good, but then that would just be like like heartbroken, you
right,
know?
yeah,
So I'm always happy to hear that people like love the tone, love the way it sounds in their rig, and that's just like the icing on the cake for me.
yeah. I mean, it has like the big enclosure. When I turned it on, um, I felt like, so talk to me about what is and I could probably go watch a Josh Scott video on the history of fuzz, but like I don't have enough
You
time in the
should
day.
You should, but actually maybe you should not after this because I'm probably going to say some things wrong. So, like, Curtis, he's so stupid. He doesn't know anything.
Well, what is the 2 and what is the 1.5? What is it? What's the era in which those came out and all that? Like, educate me a little bit. You know, you don't have to be
Okay.
100% correct. Not everything on the internet is truth.
Okay. Yeah. Take everything I say with a grain of salt because everything that I know is from a Josh Scott video. All right. And I probably only watched it once a couple months ago. So um, the biggest difference is between the 1.5 and the 2. And by the way, the 1.5 is basically a fuzz face, is the number of transistors, the number of gain stages. So these transistors cascade gain into each other to give you more distortion. The fuzz face, yeah. So the fuzz face and the 1.5 are 2 transistor fuzz pedals. So, and actually, if you that big box, is it still open in the back?
I closed it up because I want to be precious with it. I didn't
You
want
son
to.
of a gun. Okay.
I was like, I don't want to lay it down and have a dog hair fly into it. Dude, I have, no matter what I do, no matter what we do, we were on a plane going to vacation 3 weeks ago and we were like all covered in dog hair. And we were just like, dude, what the hell? Like, you know, we haven't seen him in like 2 days. All right, I opened it.
All right. So on inside the circle there, you can, yeah, you can show us to us, but for your own knowledge there, inside the circle, you see those 3 cans kind of pointing to each other?
Yep.
Those are the transistors. The very bottom one is Q1. That's the first transistor. And that is the difference between, for the most part, between the 1.5 and the 2.0. So when you turn that switch, that red switch on the front, that brings that in and out of the circuit. So that's why when you're in the 2.0 mode, you have that extra gain stage that gives you that extra distortion, which is also why it doesn't clean up as well when you roll off the volume, because you're already like saturated. You've got, you know, so much gain going into so much gain.
Yeah.
So that's what that is.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's funny because I'm not a like high gain kind of player, but like I guess with fuzz, I want it to feel like my amp is about to explode. Like, yeah, I like that is the kind of fuzz I like where and I kind of like it too when it's not biased correctly and it's like like a little glitchy.
You like the rippy Velcro-y kind of stuff?
I do. Not all the time, but like I enjoy that sound and I kind of like the sitar like nature of it in a way. You know, like I definitely have learned a lot about how to kind of mimic a sitar or like just get a different sound than people are used to hearing with a fuzz. Just from listening to like Eric Krasno, for instance, like stuff like that. And I've studied him extensively as a guitarist. And you know, he'll
Hold
do
on,
stuff like
I'm taking notes. Eric Krasno. Okay, got it.
He's from Soul Live. You know the band Soul Live?
Nope.
Okay. So Soul Live originated basically in Boston. Like those guys went to Berkeley, some of them. But they've been around since, oh dude. I mean, I think I'm pretty darn sure. I mean, definitely the 90s is when they started. But they're like a soul funk groove trio.
Oh, nice. I love that.
Yeah, so you would really dig that. Check out albums like what would be good for you to listen to first? There's just go in and find early like Soul Live stuff to start there, and then you can get into there's some records where there's vocals. And dude, they kind of blew up because they opened, like Dave Matthews asked them to go on the road with him.
Oh,
Very
really?
randomly, yeah. But they came through I went to Salisbury. It was my first college.
Okay.
Before I went to Berkeley. And they came through there with DJ Logic, which I don't know if you know who DJ Logic is, but he was like kind of big in the jam band scene as a DJ with vinyl and stuff. But Eric's like he's just a killing player. And if you've seen, did you see that SE Silver Sky video with John, and then
Yes. Yeah.
a bunch of people like Ariel Posen and
Mm-hmm.
people would play. Eric's in that.
Okay. Okay.
So like he's boys with
Nice.
Mayer and stuff. So because he's played with the Dead and Phil and Friends
Yeah.
and all that. So so
Are you
anyway.
an Ariel Posen fan?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Are you gonna go
Absolutely.
see him when he comes to DC?
I don't think I'm around that night. I actually talked to him to see if they needed support. When is that show? It's like,
I
is
don't
it May or
remember.
June? I can't remember.
Uh,
I
but
think I looked.
whatever it was, you're not free that night. Is that right?
I don't think I am from last time I remembered, but are you gonna go?
I'm trying to find people to go with. I don't have that many guitar buddies that like know who that is in this
Let me
area.
check my calendar, and if I can go, I'll go with you. Um, I thought for some reason I was not going to be around that evening, but it's in the middle of the week, isn't it? It's not like on a weekend, from what I remember.
Probably. Like people like that always have like the middle of the week stuff.
Yeah, in Virginia, in the middle of Virginia, or that's
Yeah. Okay.
DC. He's playing in DC.
It's in DC at May 14th.
May 14th. Oh yeah, that's like
It's a Saturday. You got a weekend spot.
yeah. I think that's my kid's she has a school function, but I think that might be during the day. Let me talk to my let me talk to the boss tonight, Curtis.
Okay. Okay.
And I will see what's going on that weekend. But yeah, I love Ariel, and he, as far as fuzz is concerned, if we're talking about fuzz, that dude has had so many different
I
fuzz
know.
pedals on his board. I
I
mean,
know. And the way he uses them. Oh, he's awesome.
I
I
know.
would love to get one on his board, but honestly, I don't know if they're like tour worthy. Like like pretty, and I don't know how well they would do. Reeves has this.
Oh, I'm losing you, Curtis. A little bit. I think I lost you, buddy. I think he might have you froze, Curtis. Maybe try bouncing out and bouncing back in. Sometimes that works. Oh, there you are.
Sorry, it looked like my internet kicked out there for a second.
That's all right. What were you saying? You said something about you're starting to talk about we were talking about Ariel Fuzz getting one on his boards may not be roadworthy.
Oh yeah, the Reeves Electro is coming out with some new like tour grade thing, which it looked like a fancy like what are they called? Like a tag board kind of thing. I don't know if you know what that is. It's got like the two
No.
poles and then you connect each piece to that, so it's very like rigid. But
Oh, nice.
yeah, but like the point to point stuff, I don't know if it could handle like the vigors of tour life, you know. But
Right.
it would be so
Yeah.
cool to have one on someone's board like that.
Oh
Like I'm
man, you
so
could.
jealous of Aaron and like he built one for Joey Landreth
Yeah.
that he's gonna probably like be taking on tour, and that's just like killer. That's the dream, you know.
Yeah. I mean, you can do that, man. Brian was saying, "Good evening. Still digging my Mason Effects built VS10,
Oh
rugged as a
yeah,
tank. Cheers."
when I first built this, Ryan the Tone Geek on his site, he's like, you know, build as many as you want, sell as many as you want. Like he just has like the build list. He sells you the PCBs and these like face plates. So I made I think maybe 20 of them and just sold them, and that kind of got me some money to build other pedals and get into the fuzz game and stuff. So that's
Yeah.
if anyone's got one of those Mason Effects, well, that was before I was even Mason Effects. It just has my little signature on it. So
Oh,
maybe
neat.
those will be worth. Maybe those will be worth something someday. I don't know.
Hey man, keep doing what you're doing, and it will. You got to get that. You got to get those Klon prices or those Isle of Tone prices for people for
Oh
buy.
God.
That's
Yeah.
so crazy. I can't believe. I mean, first and foremost, I mean, okay, the Klon is a great pedal. I had one. I had a real
Yeah.
Klon. I sold it, and I don't regret it. I feel like I'm at a point in my life where I don't want to make anything that's material objects precious in terms of like I can't let go of this or that or whatever.
Hmm.
But dude, for someone to spend thousands of dollars on a pedal, Come on, man. Like, really? That's
No,
the FOMO. That's the FOMO for real.
that is definitely the FOMO.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we probably would say the same thing back when they were $1,000, and now they're 3,000, and they're laughing at us.
Trust me, dude. I sold mine for 1,500, and I was like, damn it. I could have sold that right now and gotten a 335 instead of selling all this other stuff. I could have sold one thing. So
I bought the Kate, where is it? KTR right there.
yeah,
So I'm hoping that one does the same thing eventually. We'll see.
yeah. Do you like it? Do you like think
It's okay.
it yeah, see, that's
It's
the
fine.
thing, man.
It's not my favorite drive.
Yeah. I mean, if you had your druthers, like in terms of like gear, what do you think is the most important ingredient? Is it the guitar? Is it the amp? Is it the pedals? Is it the hands? Like what is to you like personally?
Hands one, like if you can't play, you're fucked. Nothing's gonna help you. Um, and then I'd say amp because I think with the right amp, you can get almost anything to sound the way that you want, you know. Um,
Mhm.
and then I don't know between guitar and like a good pedal, but you don't need a good pedal. If you have a good amp, you don't even, need a pedal. If you got something with a nice overdrive in it, then I would say guitar and then pedals. So pedals is very last, but please buy my
Yeah.
pedals.
You definitely should, people, if you like fuzz. I mean, they're dope. I've like the older I get, Curtis, it's like I'm starting to realize it like the amp is the thing that like all the money should be like in the amp first, I think. Because like
Yeah.
any pedal that you use, any fuzz or overdrive that you throw into a great amp is just gonna sound that much better.
Yep.
Um, and you know what's funny too is like when I first bought my Klon, this is like, dude, I ordered it. It was 2002, I think,
Mhm.
and I had just graduated from college, and I was like broke as a joke, by the way. And I was touring in this band, and we had a little payout where we gave each other like $300 or $400 to like upgrade gear stuff or do whatever. And
Mhm.
I was like, I'm gonna buy this pedal that I'm huge, probably more then than I am now, but I still love them. You know the band Mo?
Yep.
So huge fan of Chuck Garvey, and like I talked to him at one time at a show, and I was like, what overdrive are you using to get that really like soaring, clean, punchy? And he's like, it's this thing called a Klon Centaur. Not a lot of people know about it. This guy makes them in his apartment in Cambridge, Massachusetts, blah blah blah.
Uh-huh.
So I ordered one, and I talked to Bill Finnegan, and he was like, what amp are you playing through right now? And I was like, it's a PV Classic 50. And he's like, oh, bro, you got to get a better amp. And I was like, whoa, man, take it easy. I'm about to spend $300 on one pedal from you. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like throw shade
It's like
much?
you don't deserve my pedal right now. All right, up your game, then you can buy one.
That's how it felt. But it is true, man. Like I've noticed now, I think that like I've always had just single channel amps, but I think like having
Mhm.
a two-channel amp with a great like kind of dumbly overdrive kind of vibe, like that kind of clean violin-y type overdrive. If I
Yep.
have that, I don't think I need an overdrive on my board. I think having fuzz and a boost to boost the overdrive channel is
Yeah,
probably all I need, you know? So
probably.
it's weird. It's like the older I get, the less I feel like I need all these toys in front of me. But it's nice to have options for the studio. I mean, I will say,
Right. And of
trying to
course
get
it,
different.
once you get into like modulation and delays and stuff, uh pedal order so you can put like an overdrive before all that. I mean, if you have an effects loop, then you could, run your dirty channel and then have your effects loop with all the modulation stuff. But if you just want to hit the front of an amp, then the pedals will give you more options for how you want to route the chain.
Yeah, for sure. You should show people that the board you built. That is freaking dope. I mean, we were talking about woodworking, and homeboy says, "Oh, casually, I just built this."
Yeah, I got into woodworking a couple years ago and
Yeah.
built this beautiful guy. Hold on, it's
What kind of
got
wood is that?
zebra wood. I
I've
had
never
to
heard of
kill a
that kind of
zebra.
wood. Don't do that.
So it's
Oh,
got like the
dude.
lift up top, and then this is kind of. I mean, I don't know if it does anything. Well, it lets it sit at a bit of an angle.
Yeah.
That's why this kind of has that. Um, but yeah, so that's my
So did you
baby.
engineer all that stuff too? Like you built like the board on top that can bend and whatnot? And
Yeah, I mean, all of this stuff is from Home Depot. Like all these brackets, this is all like cabinetry stuff, you know?
yeah, yeah,
So, um,
that's
but
cool.
yeah.
That's so cool. So what is on your current board right now?
So, what do we have? We've got the, I guess, first pedal to last. I've got the Cali 76
Nice.
compressor, and that goes, I got to remember what order this goes in now. Does that go? That goes into my pitchfork.
Mm,
I use that as a like a bass pedal, like I turn the guitar into bass, so that when I do looping on the boss, I can lay down a bass line.
that's cool.
And then I go into my Keeley Katana,
Yeah.
then my Wampler Tumnus, the little mini one in there.
That I think is one of the best clones on the market.
Oh, it's great. I love that thing.
Yeah.
And then you've got your King Tone Duelist, of course.
Yep.
And then I've got a Qtron. I don't want to lift this back up, but I will. I got the
Oh, you don't
Qtron
have to.
Plus.
Yeah. Nice. That's great.
And
Is
and
that
then
a
I think
jam
it
pedal?
goes. Yeah, this is the Ripley Falls.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's got
That's
like the vibe, chorus, and phaser. And then I've got
nice.
two delays. I've got my Flint reverb and my Boss RC10.
Nice, dude. That's a good board,
Oh,
man.
fuck, it's heavy though. I'm sweating.
Did you work out much today? Oh man, that's so
Whew.
great. Hey, I wanted to before we get into like close to the lightning round get down and stuff. So we keep kind of going in and out of this, but so for you, as far as the different types of fuzzes that can be
Mhm.
built or that you can buy. So like what is the difference between a Zonk machine and a fuzz face and a tone bender, for instance, if we just start there? Like
In terms of what, like circuitry, like what makes it
the
a Zonk?
characteristics that circuitry creates.
Um, I don't have that much Zonk experience. Like in my head, they're a little zippier. Like not in my head, Fuzz is like the 2.0 and the 1.5, and then Zonk kind of does its own thing.
Mhm.
And I haven't done enough Zonk to really be able to explain it well. Like, do
Right,
you have a
okay.
Zonk?
The only thing I have is that, Kingtone SI, fuzz that has the Zonk setting,
Mm-hmm.
which I basically leave it in that. That's my favorite
Oh yeah.
setting. So,
Okay.
I don't know,
And there's
but
also different zonks. There's like a two transistor zonk and a three transistor zonk, and there's there's so many different sounds within that that it's hard to kind of describe it. So I mean, I think just hopping on YouTube and trying to listen to different sound clips or people trying to demo different pedals is probably the best way. But
yeah.
even within that, if they have a different amp or a different guitar with higher or lower output pickups, it's going to act completely different. So, fuzz is hard. And like you said, 5 years ago, you just started buying up pedals and seeing what worked. And honestly, sometimes that's kind of what you have to do, unless there's some guitar hero that you're trying to mimic and you know what they play. Like it's a Strat into a Fender Tweed or something. So what sound you're going for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's Doyle Bramhall. Like, I have several fuzzes and pedals that Doyle owns.
Yeah.
But I did today, man. You know what I sold? I sold the Jan Ray, the Vemurum Jan Ray.
Did you?
Because I wasn't using it, and then I took it to a rehearsal, and I was like, this isn't my thing anymore. Like,
Interesting.
I'm not connecting with it as much as I used to. Like, I think that it can be a little harsh, like,
Yeah.
overdrive wise to me, at least how I feel. And I didn't have the trim pot cranked or anything to get more gain, but I always felt like that specific genre for some reason felt more gainy than the other ones that I've heard. So maybe I got like I don't know, a lemon of a genre. I don't know. But I've had it forever. I've had it for like 7 or 8 years. So
have you tried a Timmy?
I've never ever played through a Timmy. No.
Because
I mean,
the big fuss was that the Fimuran Jan Ray, I think it was the Jan Ray, was basically a Timmy clone that they just like upcharged like a crazy amount. That was back when like Timmys were selling like brand new for like 175 or something, you know. And then the
right.
Jan Ray came in at like 300 or 350 and just tried to hit that higher end for the exact same thing.
Yeah. With the fancy golden ticket enclosure.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what else?
I shouldn't say anything though, because I also play that with the fancy enclosures. So
Yeah, but your stuff is like it's not. I mean, it's like so specific and like so unique. You know what I mean? Like all the Vemurum stuff is just all that gold, you know, kind of
true.
enclosure.
Yeah.
This thing's great. So, have you ever played through one of these?
Third Stone. No, who's that by?
Burkos effects.
Okay.
So this is a Doyle. This is a Doyle find. He had this on his board, and I had to gobble that up, of course. And the other one that's super great is the Mythos High Road, like the little guy. Like this, just little guy that Joey did with Zach.
Yeah.
This thing's great too, man. I haven't had this on my board in a minute. Right now, honestly, dude, I have to say, not that Chris is a competitor to you. You guys are all friends, but like like you should try one of his fuzzes too, man. Do you have one? Hell yeah, dude. Yes. So like this is all you need, folks. Just these.
There you go. So I'm curious, what do you like about this versus the small 1.5 enclosure that I let you use?
I think that I get, even with one more knob, I sometimes get option paralysis.
Okay. So if on my third knob, if you cranked it all the way, that's basically like there is no knob. So
okay.
I asked because the two circuits are almost equivalent in terms of the layouts. This is like the Fuzzface 1.5, like 2 transistor circuit. Just
so weird.
I think this one's silicon. The one that you have is germanium, and they're just tuned differently. So that I think this is more. I mean, Chris, if you're still in here, buddy, correct me, but it sounds more fuzz facey to me. Like it rolls off a lot more highs. It's got some more woof, and it's a little zippy. Like it's got a little rip in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas I try to dial mine in just to be like super smooth, just because that's what hits my ears, right?
Yeah, I think I also tend to like gravitate towards silicon transistors for some reason. I don't know why. Like I just if somebody puts something in front of me and I play both of them and I don't know, I guarantee you that if I was like, I like this one, I bet you it's probably the silicon fuzz.
Yeah. Interesting.
I don't know what it is about it. Now that I know that, I'm gonna have to go back into this and see like play them together. Oh, here he is.
Here, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I think that might
so
be
Chris, am I right? This is just basically like tweaked fuzz face circuit. Well, he can respond when I'll drink a sip of beer while he responds.
Yeah, I mean, it's as far as I know, like his take on it is definitely a fuzz face.
Yeah,
but you know, I like this one feels like when I'm in this mode, I feel like it has more gain than Chris's.
Oh yeah, it does
100%.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just the what you get with 3 transistors instead of 2.
Yeah. Yep. Tweak fuzz face just turned.
There you go, man.
See, you guys both.
Exactly. It's what you want to hear, and we want to hear like slightly different things, but people still like them.
Yeah. Well, for your stuff, like right now, when you just said like you had to turn off the pre-order, but like when you're building these, is it like, do you communicate with your buyer like what do you want? Like kind of like what Aaron talks about, like in terms of like what do you hear?
Right.
Like let me figure out what you'll be happy with. Is that kind of your approach too?
No. It's not, because that is so much more stressful, like trying, and in the end, like I said, this is all just like for fun, keep myself busy. But when you start getting into that, half the time people don't know what they want. Like, I don't know if you talked about this with Aaron, but I'm sure he'll tell you so many times that someone's like, I want a NKT 275 transistor. And even people that don't know anything about fuzzes will know that transistor, maybe. Do you not know them? But
no, I know NKT. That's all I know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, even that's enough. But once you start digging into it, everyone's like, oh my God, the golden grail, like, NKT 275. And then just the time it takes to talk someone out of something like that. Like I have 2 that I'm going to put in some build eventually, but they're $125 a piece, like just for those transistors. Yeah. And it's just, people don't know what they want a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I want it, really smooth, some highs, but also some mids and maybe a little bit of bass. And I don't know. It's just, for me, I just want to sit here and like build my pedals, plug it in, sounds good, bam, post it up for sale. And now someone has it and hopefully they like it.
Yeah.
And
how many units have you sold so far, Curtis, do you think? Like
not that many. I think I'm about 30 total.
Okay.
So that's between like the small enclosures, the big 1.5s, and a couple of the large 2.0s that I've done now.
Okay. But then you have a backlog of stuff your orders you're fulfilling too, right? Like
So yeah, well, I don't take orders. Like I didn't take anyone's money. Like when I open up the wait list, I just put them on the list, and it's like when your name's up, I'll shoot you an email and let you know which pedal I got, and if you want it, you can take it. If not, then you can wait for the next one. And that's kind of how I was running the wait list. But it's just gotten to be such a hassle now. I think I'm just going to go to first come, first serve and just, plop them up for sale when I have them, and whoever gets it.
Yeah,
It's just
totally.
so much less stress.
Yeah. You know what, man? I'm trying to think if I can fire this up really quick.
Yeah.
Just to let people hear. Let me see. Give me 1 second. I'm going to see if I can plug this in.
Okay. How's everybody doing tonight?
All right. Grab a Strat.
There you go. Now, how are you playing, or what amp are you playing through?
Right now, it's the Wonderland Overdrive.
And how do you have it set up? That was from Amplified Nation?
Yeah. It's just on the clean channel, and it's like, let me put the master up a little bit.
You're a brave man. I never go past like 2, even on my little 2-rock studio signature.
All right, so let's just see what happens. It could clip. I'm not sure, because this is a very gnarly. All right. So
oh yeah.
let me me just get situated here. I can't play guitar when I'm kneeling down like that. It doesn't work as well. But just because he's awesome and because he's your friend and my friend, let's use Buddy's pick.
Oh yeah, is that from Honey Picks?
I don't know. I think so. It's thick, man. It's like a thick old. So it will like clean up.
Yeah, so it'll clean up a little bit. It won't get you the glassies like the 1.5 mode will, but it will definitely clean up.
So if I put it in the 1.5, what are the settings I should put it on real quick? So for the 3 knobs, where should I set them? What's your favorite setting for that?
So I would go fuzz, volume. You see that?
All right, so like, we got. Give me like times, like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
So we're looking volume at like 4 o'clock.
Okay.
Fuzz between probably about 4. Like if you play with the fuzz, there's almost like a cliff that it'll fall off and go into like a lot fuzzier tone, and then you back it down just a hair, and that's where I like to sit it. And then this you just do to taste. Like if you want like the woolly stuff, then all the way maxed out. And if you want more overdrivey, somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
And then
let's do that.
Treble boosty all the way counterclockwise.
All right. Try that. So, and then I'll be on the neck pickup here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
So you can definitely hear the difference in the cleanup, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great sound.
Yeah. That, and then if you open it up a little bit.
And now take that middle, the structure switch, and max it out, and hear that difference. It's a lot more apparent when you roll on the volume like all the way up.
Ah, man.
And now get some full fuzz. Get it. Full volume.
Yeah.
There you go.
See, so that I can see why you love that.
Mm-hmm.
That is a like perfect replication of how you can get everything you want out of a fuzz pedal.
Yep.
Because even if I back it off and if I go into like the 4th position, for instance, I can't get Corey Wongy on it, but like I can probably. And just roll it up a little bit. works just fine. And then when you get the solo, you know, it's,
and then
man,
if you don't want that woof, then you roll back that structure knob a little bit to like halfway, and then you've got, you know, a nice fuzzy sound in overdrive.
yeah, man, it's, yeah, well done, my
Yeah.
friend.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you. It's amazing what you can do with just a classic circuit, you know?
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's been done 1,000 times.
But it's like so tried and true. That's the thing. I think that's the reason it keeps getting done, is because somebody's got to perpetuate it for younger guitarists to know what's going on and educate people, because this shit is like, I've never, ever, like in my career, like when I just went into the studio this past Sunday, it's with my band that I toured with forever, and we're getting back together. And this is the first time we've recorded music in 20 years together. And
oh wow,
we were like packing up and leaving, and like whatever, we heard like the producer just gave us like the track to listen to. We have to go back and do overdubs and stuff, but like I did my guitar solos in it, and the band was like, dude, like your tone and everything is like, I've never heard you get these good of tones and on anything that we've ever done. I'm like, well, first of all, it's been 20 years, brother. Like, I know way more about this instrument and about my gear than I did 20 years ago. But I feel like it's like people like you are kind of like, hey, remember this cool thing that existed in the 60s and 70s that people were like, thought they knew a lot about, but like now we're just making it that much cooler. It's like making, like, what would a movie, like if Star Wars first came out like today, the technology is so much better.
Oh,
you know, like A New Hope would be mind-blowingly beautiful with the technology that exists. Not that it isn't, because I love Star Wars and whatever, I always will. We grew up with it, but like it's the same thing. Like now, yes, there's this whole search for like, we want the old NOS parts and blah 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 and all that. But like you guys,
I dig into that market hard.
Yeah. And I get it. And there's because there's a vibe for those parts, and that's the way that makes these things sound.
Yeah.
But like to continually push this forward and not settle and rest on laurels of how things used to be, man, it's fun to see you guys like all kind of, and the community is so great too. Like,
awesome.
You know, like just watching you pop up live and you're working on circuits and talking to people and engaging like about the history of this product or whatever it may be. Like it's just, I find it to be extremely interesting.
Good.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, it's not just like building pedals is fun, but also like teaching people and helping people is like another, you know, passion, something that I love to do. So anytime anyone ever has any questions, like, you know, people shoot me DMs like, hey, where do you get this? Or how do you do that? You know, what do you recommend for this or that? Then like, I'm always happy to help people out, you know, when they're just starting out or, you know, want to try something new. So if anyone's watching or anyone watches in the future, please feel free to reach out and I'll help you with anything I can.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. You guys are killer. All right, you want to do this lightning round get down? Let's do this thing.
Hold on. All right, I'm ready.
All right, cool. So here's the drill, and you probably know the answer. You know the spiel here, but like I'm gonna put on a metronome. It's gonna be 112 BPM. I don't know why. It's just 112.
Perfect.
And I'm gonna ask you questions, 10 questions. You can explain your answers if you'd like, or you can burn through them, whatever you prefer, my friend. I love hearing, I'm just going to say that my mom guilt trips. I love hearing explanations, but you don't have to do that.
Thanks.
All right. First question's always the same. Lennon or McCartney?
McCartney.
Pears or plums?
Fuck. A good plum is hard to beat.
It is, truly is. All right. So being that you're in Northern Virginia, Orioles or Nationals?
I grew up Orioles, but I've got to say Nationals. I'm sorry, Mr. Maryland.
You know what, man? I went to the Nationals game. I went to a Nationals game once. That stadium is beautiful.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
I
really
think
cool.
last time I saw the Orioles play, Cal Ripken Jr. was still playing. So that tells you how long it's been since I was at that stadium.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
All right. And this one is not a this or that, but what is your favorite tone bender model?
1.5, gotta be.
Okay. All right. Skateboard or BMX?
I was terrible at both, but I always tried to be better at skateboard.
Okay. Awesome. You're going on a road trip. Out of the jackasses, who would you rather go on a road trip with? Knoxville or Steve-O?
Knoxville. I feel like Steve would be super annoying and probably do a lot of coke.
All right. All right. So we talked about this a little bit, but like if you're going to invest in something right now, would it be a better guitar or would it be a better amp?
So I just bought, we talked about the two rock that I just got. So I'm
Yeah.
good with that for now. I think I would go with a new guitar.
What do you think you would get? If money was no object right now, what do you think you would order?
Honestly, like so being like the DIY guy that I am, I've built a couple like parts casters, like 4 or 5, and I
Nice.
still haven't found one that feels like perfect in the hands. Like I made this one. This was my black one replica,
Oh,
and
nice.
it sounds great, but the neck profile is okay, but just something about the frets. I don't know if they're too small or what, but it just doesn't. It's just not quite right. So I think I would have to order some kind of like legit, I don't know, custom shop or something that if I could get my hands on it. There you go. Yeah, it just if it just
Dude,
feels right.
this instrument, I cannot speak more highly of this instrument. It's a custom shop. I got it from Wildwood Guitars. It's their like Wildwood 10s.
Okay.
And several people told me like if you're gonna get a custom shop, just go through Wildwood because they're so persnickety about the kind of specs that they want and the fret
Uh-huh.
sizes, the neck feel, and all that. And I'm like, blindly spending this much money is not my thing, Curtis. Like I don't do that shit.
Yeah.
But I I cannot be more happy. I mean, it's the greatest
Yeah.
instrument I've ever owned. So anyway, all right.
Noted. I know what I'm buying with my bonus.
Soft or firm mattress?
Firm.
Okay, firm mattress. Okay. Jurassic Park or King Kong?
Jurassic Park. Come on now. Like the
Yeah.
original Jurassic Park.
Oh hell yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, Jeff Goldblum shirt, half shirt open. Yeah,
Oh God, yeah.
that.
Jeff Goldblum, fucking spirit animal. I love that man.
Oh, I know, man. All right. So last question. Sometimes it's hardest, sometimes it's the easiest. If you could take one record and erase it from your memory, just so you could go back and listen to it for the first time again, to experience it for the first time, what record would that be?
I think I'm gonna go with Where the Light Is, the John Mayer
Okay.
live.
Okay. Tell me why. Tell me why.
So when I was trying to get back into guitar, I remember hearing some of those songs live for the first time, or I mean, not live, I wasn't there, but like hearing the live album and the documentary, whatever live thing, and it was just like crazy. And that was also the first time I realized that John Mayer could actually play guitar. Like I always thought he was, like the acoustic singing whatever guy. Um, and it just like blew my mind. And still to this day, some of the covers he does of like Jimi Hendrix songs on that album, I know it's
Hmm.
blasphemous, but I prefer some of those to the Jimmy originals.
Yeah,
Like
I can see that. That's not
I don't know,
blasphemous.
to some I'm sure it is, but um yeah, I would love to have that new experience again.
Yeah, experience. See what you
Uh-huh.
did there? You know what I think? You know what I think is interesting about that that comment about liking those songs, kind of those versions better. I think
Hmm.
a lot of that has to do with the rhythm section, man.
It does. Yeah,
You
it
know,
does.
not to say that, the rhythm section of the experience or whatever wasn't cooking enough. you know, but how can you compare those cats to Steve Jordan and Pino Palladino, you know, in terms of, you know, what probably more authentically what our ears hear these days kind of thing, you know. I still love, dude, out of like the Band of Gypsies era or the Experience, I always kind of go back to Experience.
Yeah.
And I think it's the songs mostly from that period that I identify with so much. But I was talking to somebody yesterday, my neighbor. She texted me and was like, "Hey, I accidentally bought 2 copies of Michael Jackson's Off the Wall on vinyl on eBay. Do you want one of these?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll buy it off you." And she came over and dropped it off, and we were talking about Stevie Wonder too. And this is, you know, blasphemous to a lot of people, but like I'm not a huge Stevie fan. Like
Yeah.
I like some of that music, but if I try to sit down and listen to like songs in the key of life all the way through, I skip a lot of tunes.
I feel you. I'm like that
You know,
with other things, and I feel bad even like thinking it. Like, how can I think that? I'm like, maybe I just don't get it. I just don't get it. You know?
I think that's what it is for me too, man. Like I really
Yeah.
feel like I maybe because I love Talking Book is my favorite Stevie Wonder album. And
Hmm.
a song off of that was our wedding song, my wife and I's wedding song.
Uh,
So like I obviously like Stevie Wonder, otherwise we wouldn't have done that. But it's hard for me sometimes for my brain to maybe appreciate things at a deeper level that maybe I'm missing something. I don't know, you know.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
but so anyway, I can see there's probably going to be a lot of people blowing up the comments below saying, "Mark, you know what you're talking about? Stevie Wonder's the best thing to ever happen to music," and that's fine. That's your opinion.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
But you know, for me, there's other funk stuff and other soul stuff that I'm way more identify with. So, are you like
Sure.
into like funk and soul music and whatnot? Or are you
You
kind of
know,
more?
I mean, I'm more rock, but I really anytime I hear like a good funk soul or like a funk rock or something, I'm really drawn to it, and immediately I'm like, oh, and I start like
Yeah,
get this face and start nodding the head. I'm like, all right, yep, I think I might need to listen to more funk. So if you've
I,
got some stuff to send my way, let me know.
yeah, I'll get you some stuff for sure. Um, and I'll let you know about Ariel. I'll talk to my wife and see
Yes,
what's going on that day. Maybe we can go.
please.
And you know what? Well, yeah, I'll talk to you after we're out there. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Curtis, Masonfx, dude, thank you so much for doing this. Appreciate it. So fun to hang with you. I hope we can get together, even if we don't do Ariel. I hope we can get together at some point and hang this summer.
For sure,
Um,
man. I mean, we're too close to not do it.
Yeah, 100%, man. So everybody check out Curtis, where's your main like spotlight is Instagram probably, right? Right
Yep,
now?
just yep,
Okay,
pretty much just on Instagram. Hopefully this summer I'll get a website going where I'm actually going to post the pedals for sale, but for right now it's all just on Instagram.
cool. Mr.
Yep,
DIY, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. DIY right here.
All right, guys, you guys take care of yourself, take care of each other, and we shall see you later.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.